The launch of Amrita Gandhi's Live Like a Maharaja saw the who's who of Indian royalty turn up to mark the occasion. Based on the NDTV Good Times series Royal Reservation, the book published by Penguin is a guidebook that gives its readers lifestyle tips on how to convert your home into a palace.
So the book Live Like a Maharaja, How to Turn Your Home into a Palace, has come after more than 5 years of doing a series Royal Reservation, which has taken us to palaces all over the country. And the idea really is to now be able to bring a little bit of that palace home with you. You know, there's the travel show, and then there is the lifestyle also of Maharajas, which is equally interesting to everybody. And we thought that what we'd do is create a lifestyle guide to living the palace life, even if you don't have a palace. The book is really not about excesses and ostentation. It is quite the opposite. It is about those things that people who live in a city flat and travel with carry-on luggage can quite easily, on a relatively modest budget, do in their homes. We have ideas from interior designers who worked in palaces, who tell you, for example, how to make a small room look large and formal. Of course, we've got some great tips on what to wear, how to dress for men and women. This year we have royal families who've been involved in the book, whose ideas and household tips have been presented in the book, visiting us, attending this event, being part of it, welcoming all our guests. It's fitting. I'm certainly looking forward to it.
We spoke to a few guests at the Royal High Tea.
It's a lovely book. I've just gone through it. Amrita gave it to me a few days ago, and it makes a wonderful read. I've enjoyed going through it, and she said many wonderful things about Bikaner, which is very kind of her.
I think the most important thing is to be able to document everything. At least now, with Amrita's knowledge of what she saw when she started this program is now documented. It's actually an ideal place for designers from my company and other creative fields to go and source a lot of information. And I think it's really a task, because a lot of these families feel it's out of fashion to talk about lifestyle. But to have it in that book, I think it's remarkable. I really think it's a quick guide to see how things were done in the past and how they can be redone in the future.
Amrita's book, Live Like a Maharaja, is very important for me because it preserves and puts down on paper so many of the wonderful aspects of Indian heritage that are important to preserve. And I was very happy to be a part of the book to talk about textiles and the use of textiles in interiors and in royal interiors. So I'm so pleased to have the book and to see these aspects of Indian life being preserved.
It was very interesting having Amrita over at our place, and she, because Rampur is known for its food, so she asked me how to arrange a table, and like a formal table. And the important thing is that in your homes you must welcome people, and there should be great affection, and not just get it catered, maybe large, you know, because if you have your own cuisine, it is more homely and a lot of love and effort is put in.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a warm welcome to all of you. When Royal Reservation began to broadcast into our living rooms, it almost instantly found space in our hearts. And then last season, the show's anchor, Amrita, brought the living room of the Royals even closer. Real-world tips, handy hints, and practical ideas on how to transform the everyday into the exquisite, to elevate our homes from blah to blue-blooded. When Penguin approached us with the concept of a book based on the series, it felt like a natural progression, and we were thrilled. NDTV is very excited to extend the scope of our programming beyond media. You know, we're in TV, we're in social media, but these are ephemeral. But now a book actually makes that contact, that touch point far more deeper. The engagement becomes deeper. So congratulations to Amrita, the team at Penguin, and of course to NDTV Good Times for this incredible collaboration. I'd like to invite Amrita, the anchor of the show and the author of the book, to bring on stage Maharani Kumud Kumari of Gondal to unveil the first copy, and Maharaja Gad Singh of Jodhpur to receive it.
I'd like to invite Mr. Vanshu and Smita and our partners at Penguin to also please join us on stage.
The high tea was hosted at the Imperial, the perfect venue for any royal gathering. Mr. Vijay Vanshu gave us the behind-the-scenes perspective.
Inspired from the luxurious Raj era, the royal high tea at the Imperial is designed to be an exclusive and a regal affair. Our chefs have ensured that the dishes have princely origin. For instance, some of them even have silver and gold leaf as ingredients. I must say it's a fine amalgamation of Nawabi delicacies and English high tea time desserts. For instance, we have dishes which are very English and which are very Lucknowi or some other states. I'll give you examples. We have the Sofia Paneer Tikka on skewers, which originates from Hyderabad. And we also have the Galoti kebab, which originates from the Lucknowi kitchens. So it's a fantastic amalgamation of royal Indian delicacies.
Coming up in just a little while, Amrita talks to a few royals featured in the book. Welcome back. We're at the Royal High Tea at the Imperial to celebrate the launch of Live Like a Maharaja, a Penguin and NDTV Good Times offering. The book is full of great advice on how to create luxury out of the ordinary. It's an exciting journey into the lives and homes of India's royal families, revealing the prized lifestyle secrets that will make kings and queens of all of us. Some of the royals featured in the book shared their experiences with those in the audience.
I'd now like to invite a few people who've been part of this book on stage. Raghavendra Rathore, if you'd please join me here. Rajashri Kumari of Bikaner, if you would come by for a small chat. Adil Ahmad, who is featured in here, who has great design ideas. Raghu, Jodhpur has always been on the style map. Since your ancestor, who you told me fashioned the safa, what do you feel is that particular quality about Jodhpur's sense of style that you see carrying all the way through into the future?
My submission is that I think the trick really lies in how to repackage what has once been done before for a more contemporary audience. I think that's the relevance. There's a lot of R&D that goes on, and people forget that the evolution of design that was once done doesn't take, with Google, everybody just takes the idea forward in its raw form. I think the challenge for the design community and people in the creative profession is to be able to readapt that. And I think people like Adil and a lot of people are doing that. And I think taking clothing or whether it's an accessory forward with a modern contemporary feel is actually where the big challenge for me lies.
Princess Rajshri, your homes have, over the course of your life, included Lalgarh Palace, your home that you built near Lalgarh Palace, which is a small version of it, I'd say, and a very contemporary city flat. You brought art into your city flat, which actually reflects your legacy, your history. and those, say, pieces of Junagadh fort appear in your flat, photographs from murals appear in your flat. Can you tell me how you've sort of been inspired to contemporize those sort of big historic things into your home?
Yes, it was a great privilege to be able to live in Lalgarh Palace. I spent all my life there until about 6 years ago, when I decided to build my own house just outside the walls of Lalgarh Palace. So I'm still in its shadow. But what I tried to do was to combine the old with the new. And I was extremely fortunate in having inherited very beautiful art from my grandfather, who had an amazing eye. And the photographs, of course, come with the territory, as they say. I think all princely homes today have beautiful sepia and black and white photographs of their ancestors. In both my house in Bikaner, which is a very small, tiny little house, and my apartment in Delhi, I have tried to combine the old with the new and keep a sort of feminine touch, because it is the apartment and the home of a woman, but at the same time, not overtly so.
For you, making homes out of palaces, livable, comfortable homes out of palaces, and palaces out of homes is sort of all in a day's work. I want you to tell us the key, share with me that secret, which is useful to me, to those who need it, which I'm not sure how many do, how to turn a small room into a large-looking, formal feeling and inviting, sumptuous space.
First of all, I'd say loads of style. And secondly, not to be inhibited by the size and scale of the room, but just go in for the look that you're comfortable with. And even if it is over the top, I personally feel everything fits in, as long as you have you dare to take the plunge, as I've done in my home and you've seen. I mean, it's over the top. Perhaps some people may think it's vulgar, but it's how I like it. So original to one's own style and taste. And if it suits you, it's good for you. So that's all I can say.
I think that's a theme that has run through the book, especially with the creative people who have contributed to it. Raghu, you had mentioned how when you want to create a look for yourself, say your Bangala waistcoat, it is something that everybody knows or wants to have, yet you have to make it your own. Every man has to sort of make it his own. How does one go about doing that, even without a Rathore waistcoat, even if it is something you might buy elsewhere?
I think these clothes don't really need a designer stamp. I think these have been there for centuries, and the idea, as I said earlier, is that you need to bring in your indigenous, your style, your personal quotient, what people will remember you, even if it's not fashionable. It's a fashion that you project. And I think it's very important in this modern day where everything is recorded to have a look about yourself. It doesn't have to be a fashion look, but the foundation of fashion starts from clothes like this, which are actually very classic. So there is no need for any sort of support system from the fashion world. It's actually something that's out there. It's been lying there. The equity has been there for the last 1,200 years. So it's how one uses it for their own personal use. And also one has to keep in mind with the modern fabrics and the modern accessories that you have to evolve that look. It simply cannot be the same old. And there are little details like as to where the shoulder cut stops. You can actually see a difference between a custom-made outfit and a ready-made outfit bought from a store. People are very sensitive now, and they recognize that somebody who will take that much time out probably is a better person to do business with, because you see there is a sense of personal character in that decision.
I just wanted to ask you if there was any, for example, I felt that in your home, coming to Princess Rajashri, your photographs is what you talked about, but I also felt that portraiture, which is something that we all consider something from the past, grand pictures, you've managed to get a modern day picture today taken of yourself, which is a very contemporary picture which appears in this book. Can you tell us what that feeling, what it felt like to have your portrait sort of done today, and how did you modernize the idea of a royal portrait?
Well, first of all, Amrita, you seem to have immortalized my pugs by portraying them in both your programs as also in my portrait. The idea of a portrait came to me about a couple of years ago, and I wanted somebody with the light touch to be able to paint a woman. And so I found this lovely British artist, Charlotte Johnson, and she took on this project. I tried to keep the Rajasthani look by making sure that I was wearing a lehriya sari. And I think that the end product is sensitively done.
My last question is to Adil, and Adil, I wanted to ask you, you told us in here how to use antiques. I would never have guessed in your home that so many of your pieces were from Delhi's most popular flea market, Amar Colony. You have managed to use those pieces to completely make them your own. You also work with an antique, door-to-door antique vendor who comes to you, and you told us the advantages of that. How do you work with flea market finds and turn them into something that has, something of meaning?
I mean, first of all, when you buy something at a flea market, it's unusual because it's not something which is in the open market for everyone to pick up. So it's one of a kind. And along with that, then you have the ability to customize it to how you would like to use it in your own home. And not necessarily a flea market in Delhi, anywhere, all over the world you can, I mean, the same thing if you're in London, you can pick up in Portobello Road for a few £100, and if you go to Thomas Good or something, you can pick it up for a few £1,000, and Harrods for many £1,000s. So you just pick up something and then you put it in your home, and it becomes your very own style. And it's also something unique because no one else, I don't think necessarily can find the same thing. So that's the reason why I prefer to go to a flea market and pick up stuff, because it has an individuality to it which something from a top-end store would not have.
I'd like to thank all of you for being here, for sharing your ideas, and for really allowing them to be here in this book. I've learned so much in the process of actually talking to all of you.